Hey there guys, and welcome back to Planet Cryos. So beside me here I have a viewer's PC that reached out to me and wanted to see if we could fix it. It is crashing whenever he plays games. So it's crashing to not just the desktop, but it's actually crashing and rebooting the PC and sometimes giving him a black screen. So we're going to see if we can replicate those symptoms, not through the game so much, but through some intensive software tests and hardware tests. So if you want to check out this video, stay tuned and stick around. So let me tell you right now, I got a first glimpse of this PC and it needs a little bit of help. He did actually ask me to go ahead and give him a price as to fully clean this. So we're going to get it working first, and then I will address or see if he wants me to clean the entire PC. That would involve taking every fan out, the motherboard, put new thermal paste on, taking the graphics card out, disassembling everything, and cleaning everything up, including the case, and putting it all back together. That will be for a separate video if he does decide that he wants me to do it. But yes, it is very, very dirty. I can see all the fans have pretty much caked on dirt and grime. So it's not, I can see actually there was a bobblehead. When I picked it up, there was something that actually moved and jostled around in there. So I could see there's some sort of a bobblehead or something that fell down. So we got to get that out. And he can put it back in if he wants. But the other thing he did tell me is that this motherboard or this PC was built by, I think, his brother or something like that. And when they got the motherboard in, they put the memory in, and apparently only one of the 3 memory slots actually worked. I don't know if that's true. We may go ahead and test that out. There's probably a BIOS update that needs to be done on this, but he's only got 1 RAM stick in it. So, but we may have a graphics card problem, crashing, or power supply problem. We'll have to see what's going on here. It is an AMD computer or CPU and an AMD graphics card. So we have looks like an MSI motherboard. So yeah, we'll go ahead and check this out. We'll get started here. I'm going to open this thing up. Actually, you know what? I'm going to keep it closed, and we're going to see if we can replicate some of the problems. I haven't turned it on. I picked it up yesterday, and now today I'm just getting to it, and we're going to see what's going on here. So I'm going to set up a monitor and stuff, so stick around. Alright, so we have our monitor hooked up now. We've got the cable to it, power cable going to the PC, and we're going to fire this up for the first time and see what happens. I turn the power supply on. Okay, it doesn't look like he has any lights going on for this. Oh, we do have RGB. Let's see if we get a picture. Just waiting here, yep. There's our edge picture. Looks like we're loading into Windows now. Now this does have capability, it looks like, of an M.2 slot, but I also could tell that he has, looks like a mechanical hard drive down below, so he could be using that for games, and maybe the M.2, which I'm hoping he has for the his main boot drive, but I'm not sure. I don't know what's in this. Now I'm covering some of his privacy, because I do have to put a password in. CPU seems to be running pretty low right now. I can hear the fans. The fan curve must be really high or something in this, because it's loud. If I stay quiet for a second, you might be able to hear it. Anyway, all that noise is coming from that right now. But this is air cooled. So anyway, I'm gonna got my utility thumb drive here, and we are going to load up like HW hardware info. and get some temps and start looking at the temperatures and stuff like that. I want to see what's going on. All right, so something I wanted to point out here. I have the HW monitor up. The temperatures look okay for right now, just at an idle. I also pulled up the CPU-Z, which is giving me the his motherboard. It is MPG X570, and it's a gaming edge Wi-Fi motherboard. We got the BIOS date, which is 125 of 2021. I believe that there's a couple more updates from there that we can update as BIOS. And it is revision 1.D0. It says AMD AGESA combo AM4 V2PI 1.2.0.0. Okay, so at this point now I have checked both of his hard drives. He does have two hard drives, an M.2 NVMe, and he also has a mechanical hard drive, both of which I checked with Crystal Disk Mark. They are both looking great. We're going to check the performance of both, make sure those are up to par, and then we'll start doing a stress test on the CPU and the GPU. Right now I'm going to go ahead and run the Crystal Disk Mark for the C drive, and we're going to see how it performs under the conditions at which the PC was given to me. And so far we got readings of 2800, almost 2900. It's okay. It's probably not a Samsung drive in there, I'm assuming. I don't know quite what it is, but it doesn't seem like that would be a problem at this point. Okay, so the test just got done, just as I was turning this camera back on, and the readings, I wouldn't be concerned with them. However, it's like a budget line Western Digital 512 gig that's in it. I did look up one that was, let me see, this is a 1 terabyte that claims it is 3400 read and 3100 write. So if I could find one in here that's a 512 gigabyte one, then maybe it will be, okay, here it is. Just seeing, oh, see, I got the wrong one. That's an HP. Here it is. So it's only a $50. Okay, 3400 write and 2100 read. So that's doing significantly better on the writes, just a little low on the reads. So I'm not too concerned about that. That doesn't seem like too big of an issue. But maybe we'll address it and make sure he's got it in the right slot, according to the manufacturer for this motherboard. So we're going to go ahead and just check the D drive. And I'm just going to check the sequential read and writes, the top most, and see how the mechanical hard drive performs, and just make sure that's not extremely slow or anything. Okay, so the test is still ongoing. It should be done very shortly, but we got 147 for the reads and about 140 for the writes. That's pretty good for a mechanical hard drive. They don't get too much better than that. I think they get up close to the 200 range for some really fast ones, maybe a Western Digital Black or something. Maybe be up in the 160s, 70s, 80s, but that's pretty good for what he has. So we're going to move on to now, we're going to do some stress testing on the CPU and the GPU. We'll start with the CPU, and we'll watch the temperatures, and we'll see what it climbs to. Looks like you can only see the package temp with this. Maybe with AMD software. I know they make a monitoring software for temperatures and whatnot for an AMD. But I'm going to use the HW hardware info software that I have, and we're just going to run that with Prime 95, and we're going to see what it does to it. Alright guys, here we go. We're going to run this Prime 95 test. And we want to take a look at our temperatures, and we want to make sure this thing's not going to crash. So we started out with a temperature of 35, 35C that is, for an idle temp. Right now we are at 50. And this is, by the way, this is a Ryzen 5 5600X. So it shouldn't be too crazy, and the air-cooled should do okay. Although the fins on the air-cooled and the fans are pretty dirty. We'll hopefully address that later. Our package temp is now up to 57. We just hit 80 Celsius. So he did say this crashes when he plays games. So the two most things that we can torture this thing, we're doing a torture test right now, is the CPU and the GPU. And if it's going to crash, it should crash on one of those. So we're going to do like Heaven Benchmark. If it doesn't crash in Heaven's Benchmark, I'll do another one. But the Heaven Benchmark should make it crash, especially if we keep looping it. Alright, so our Prime has failed very shortly into the process. It wasn't very long. Basically, it just says hardware failure detected. Consult stress test text file. So, we got an issue going on here. It completed 4 tests in 3 minutes and found 1 error. So we either got a CPU issue, possibly a RAM issue. I don't suspect it's going to be the graphics card for this particular stress. It could be, but we definitely have an issue going on. I mean, even right down to the motherboard. But he only has 1 stick of RAM in there. One of my fastest things I can do is try some of the RAM that I have. I don't know if it's going to be compatible, but we can put it in. We can try it. I'm also going to check to make sure, see if he has the DOCP. I think it's DOCP, Direct Overclock Profile. DO, something like that. Anyway, I'm going to see if that's enabled. If that is, I'm going to disable it and then try this test again, and I will let you know the results. If that's not the case, if he doesn't have that enabled, what I'm going to do is probably try some of my RAM. Either just replace the 1 single stick he has with something that I have, or try a couple of the slots. He said the motherboard had an issue, so whether that's true or not, I just don't know. So I tested out myself and figure out what's going on, and I'll be right back and let you know what's going on. Okay, so this is a little interesting here. So I went into the BIOS. It was not set, and actually this is funny because I thought AMD is just kind of a little lesson for me too. I thought AMD was always the DOCP or whatever the heck it is that Intel had for XMP. So come to find out though, this is an AMD system, but within there it has what's called A-XMP, which is the same thing. So that was disabled. I did see what they call like a try it, like a memory failed try it, and if that's enabled, I guess it reboots or does something. I don't know. I didn't do a lot of research on it. But this is having a loop issue right now because I set the I changed the oh my gosh, I can't speak. I put the optimized defaults in. So now it's trying to run updates for some reason. It's telling me that the memory module is not in its optimized position for the RAM. Whatever. That went through a couple of times. I need to figure that all out. But I'm just trying to get past so this will run a Prime 95 test. If this fails again, because I went from this RAM was actually manually set to 3200 megahertz. I switched it when I switched to the default settings. It prompted it back to just the auto, so it'll probably only run at its 2133, which is DDR4's standard speed. So we're going to find out what it does for it now. If that fixes the problem, then I'll come back on. We'll see what's going on. If not, but I'm going to run Prime 95 again and see what's going to happen with this. We're back to the desktop now, and so I'll be right back with you. Alright, so I've been actually running this Prime 95 for about an hour now. No issues now. Since I took care of the RAM setting within the BIOS by switching to the default settings, it dropped the RAM down from, again, 3200 down to the 2133, which is what DDR4 runs at. And our conclusion here, after running about an hour, it never went above 80C. Now I could let this go longer if I really wanted to, run some more tests, but it's been running in the 50s and 60s pretty regularly, and occasionally going into the 70s. So I feel pretty confident that there's no issue with the CPU or the cooling of the CPU, or the unit crashing while playing a game utilizing the CPU, because now we're actually utilizing all the cores, and all the cores are running at like 4.6, 4.7 gigahertz. So yeah, we're going to shut this down and start the Heaven benchmark on the GPU to stress that one out, and hopefully we'll get an answer out of that. I might have to run that a couple times, but we'll try to put it in the loop and just let it run and see what it does from there. Then we'll address the memory issue. There might have been a memory issue. I haven't run into a problem where if you have like XMP on, if you run the Prime 95 where it won't run. So there could be a potential issue with the RAM itself. I'm just not real familiarized with that portion, but we'll do a little research and figure out if you can run Prime 95 with XMP enabled, or your profiles, within AMD enabled. Does that stop Prime from running? That I don't have the direct answer to, but it shouldn't. It should still run, but maybe there's a setting that I'm missing because I haven't done this too many times. So, but anyway, let's stop this and let's load up Heaven benchmark. Alright, so I got Heaven benchmark all loaded here. I made it a little smaller so we can have the other screen over top of it, so we can see what the temps of the GPU and what the speed of the GPU and all that. So we're going to go ahead and run this. And we can watch this and pay attention to our stuff here. Okay, so I've been running Heaven benchmark now for just a little under an hour, about 50 minutes. It hasn't crashed, it hasn't done anything to let me know that anything is getting warm. The temperature of the CPU and the GPU have been pretty low even through this test. And this is, again, just Heaven benchmark. I may run another one. But I want to get back to that RAM issue that I was having. And what I'm going to do now is stop this and run what's called memtest 86. And we're going to run a series of tests on the RAM and do the full test. At any point, if it fails, we know that the memory is bad, and then we'll check out the other channels on the motherboard. Maybe there's either a motherboard issue or the RAM that's currently in there does have an issue too. So we're going to stop this and address that and put memtest 86 in. Okay, so I had to go into the BIOS because I couldn't remember the key to select for the boot priority. So I had to change the boot priority in the BIOS, but now we are in memtest 86, and this should start automatically right now. And this is just going to go through this. This could take hours. I know on a computer that I had, it took overnight, at least 8 to 10 hours to run. Yeah, we're just going to, it does give you the total time, but we're just going to let this go, and if any errors pop up here, I will let you know, and we'll see where we get with this. All right, so the test actually passed for Mem Test 86. It was a total of 4 hours and 4 minutes, and all 4 tests passed, which means 99% chance that the RAM is perfectly fine. Now what I'm going to do is actually switch the RAM to a different spot, make sure everything's fine, because it's not in its optimal position as it sits. We do get an error message on the screen when it first boots, telling us it's not in the correct slot position. From there, I'm going to probably look at some window logs and see if there's anything else I can find out other than when we had it wasn't the XMP, but it was the RAM again was at 3200. It was set as a fixed 3200. So I think that may have had something to do with whatever's going on. Maybe it's a you know, a motherboard issue. So I really don't know just yet. I don't have any direct answers other than that one problem where the Prime 95 did not run properly when the RAM was at 3200. So, but when we brought it down to 31 or 2133 at its normal, it passed the test. It went through the Prime 95 perfectly fine for an hour. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to switch the RAM and tinker with a few things, and I'll let you know what I find. Okay, so now I'm going to fill you in a little bit more. Again, I have actually switched over or moved the RAM one position over to the correct position, which is A2. It works perfectly fine. You can see the PC running here. And yeah, no errors, and I don't get that pop-up saying it's in the wrong slot anymore. So that's good news. I went ahead and updated his Realtek audio driver. That appeared to be having some crashes that I noticed in the logs. So I went ahead and updated that to see if that's going to help any issues with that. I also updated his chipset driver. We are going to do a BIOS update. I did contact him. I'm going to get to that pretty soon because I want to get the PC back to him. He does not want it cleaned, so we're just going to leave it as is because I don't have the time to clean this. It takes I have the time, but for him to pay me to do this was just too much for him, and I just don't have the time to do it for less or for free, just for content. I have a lot going on, and I need to use my time a little wisely right now. I'm in the process of moving and helping somebody else move at the same time, plus work, plus the YouTube, and everything in between. So we're going to leave it dirty. It is pretty dirty, but we have to, hopefully he addresses that and solves that problem because it can affect your cooling because I can see the fins on it. But anyway, I digress. This is getting a little lengthy here. I just want to, now I want to run Cinebench, and we're going to do a stress test that way. I do have the Ryzen Master also at the bottom of the screen here. So we have Cinebench and Ryzen Master, and we're going to go ahead and do a multi-core test. We're going to go through one right now, and then what I'll do is I'll set it up to loop, and I will just watch it on my own without the camera on because it takes too long to run all this. So let's watch it once here. All right, here we go. I don't expect anything crazy because it is just a 5600X, so it's not a high performance processor. So we'll just see what it does here. Our current temp of the CPU is almost 60, it's 56, 57 degrees. Okay, yeah, it's just going to keep looping here, which is, I guess, a good thing. But we have a score here. Let's see. It is below. Obviously, it's below the Threadripper, but it's above the Intel Core i9 9880H. I mean, I think that's for a laptop. Anyway, it's just going to keep looping. We're going to see if the temperature gets anything crazy or if it crashes. So I will let you know. So I do want to put this little quick clip in here. I don't know where this is going to fall in, but I do want to show that I am running with the panel actually back on and Cinebench plus the Ryzen Master, and we're running at 4.5, 4.6 gigahertz. It's been about 7 minutes, and we're doing a torture test, basically to see if it gets anywhere close to its TDC. And we're running at about 72, 73 now. It's gone up a little bit, but we're running this for 10 minutes, then I'm going to run it for 30 minutes. If it passes the 30, we're good to go. BIOS is updated now. I made a separate video on that, but that's where, if you want to learn how to update a BIOS and an MSI, you can look at that video. It'll probably be, I don't know if it's going to be before this one or after this one, because it really doesn't matter. But anyway, that's what it is. That's where we stand. Still currently at about 72, 73 degrees Celsius. So just want to let you know on that. So guys, that is all I have for you. If you enjoyed a little bit of diagnostic and how to do stuff, didn't find too many things, but like I said, I did find that RAM was in the wrong slot, and we had a problem with the RAM running at a 32 megahertz speed versus the standard speed when we were running the CPU test in the beginning there of the video. So that might have been, there might be a, like I said, there might be a RAM compatibility issue. I did contact him. This is the only RAM he has, so unfortunately this is where it stands unless he wants to throw parts at it you know, get it all cleaned up and so it's breathing a little bit better. That's on him now. But my work is done here. It's been working perfectly fine for me. The only thing I'm not going to do is hook it up to my internet and check for updates or anything. And the other thing is that I'm not going to, or I can't, like do a like a true test of like gaming or like running a render, you know, with a piece of software like I do for the video rendering. Those would be the other couple tests that I would do, is actually perform the game and see if it would crash. But normally those are all online games, so I can't get into his stuff, so that's the way we're going to leave it and see where it goes from there. And hopefully he has good luck with it now. So guys, hit that like button down at the bottom, subscribe if you're not subscribed, hit that little bell icon to get notified anytime I have future videos, and until next time guys, take care.